Singapore may look small on the map, but its story is anything but ordinary. This island nation has no oil, no vast farmland, and no gold buried beneath its soil, yet it has become one of the richest and most admired countries in the world. Today, Singapore ranks among the very top in global competitiveness, holding the #1 spot for 4 years in a row. Travelers often see it as a place of glittering skylines, spotless streets, and futuristic design. But behind the modern surface lies a deeper question. How did a tiny trading port, once considered too fragile to survive, rise to become a global model of progress and resilience? The journey is shaped by pragmatism, relentless innovation, and a unique style of nation-building that continues to inspire curiosity worldwide. A history of survival and growth. Singapore's path to nationhood was far from easy. In 1965, when it was unexpectedly expelled from Malaysia, the country suddenly found itself on its own. It had no natural resources to fuel its economy, no fresh water supply of its own, and no certainty that it could survive as a sovereign state. Many predicted it would collapse within a few years. Instead, Singapore turned crisis into opportunity. Its leaders focused on building trust among the population and forming consensus with the political and business elite. They created strong institutions that emphasized rule of law, efficiency, and long-term planning. At the same time, Singapore's location along key shipping routes became its lifeline. By investing in world-class port facilities and positioning itself as a reliable gateway between East and West, the island transformed into one of the busiest re-export hubs on the planet. This ability to adapt quickly, to take what seemed like weaknesses and turn them into strengths, set the foundation for Singapore's remarkable rise. It showed the world that survival was possible not through abundance, but through vision, discipline, and determination. Forging a national identity. Singapore is often described as a mosaic of cultures, and that description could not be more accurate. Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Eurasian communities all call this small island home, each carrying rich traditions, languages, and religions. In many countries, such diversity has led to division, but Singapore chose a different path. From the very beginning, its leaders understood that harmony had to be carefully designed and actively maintained. They built safeguards directly into the nation's framework. The Constitution guarantees equal rights across ethnic groups, while public housing policies introduced ethnic quotas to ensure that neighborhoods remain mixed rather than segregated. This approach has helped everyday citizens grow up side by side, sharing schools, playgrounds, and daily routines. On the cultural front, national celebrations reflect the same philosophy. Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, Deepavali, and Christmas all hold official significance, woven into the broader story of the nation. National Day parades highlight this diversity as a strength, blending music, dance, and traditions from every community. Through these measures, Singapore has built more than just coexistence. It has created a shared sense of belonging, where differences are not erased but embraced. The result is a national identity rooted in the idea that unity is not uniformity, but the celebration of many voices moving forward together. The elite governance model. Singapore's style of government is unlike most others in the world. From its earliest years, the nation embraced a model built on meritocracy and performance, where leadership positions are earned through proven ability rather than popularity alone. Politicians are selected and trained through a demanding process that emphasizes education, integrity, and measurable results. The goal is simple but ambitious: to put the most capable people in charge of guiding the country's future. This system has produced one of the most efficient governments on the planet. Policies are crafted with precision, long-term planning takes priority over short-term gains, and decisions are implemented with speed and discipline. The results are visible in Singapore's economic growth, public safety, and the smooth functioning of daily life that travelers often marvel at. But the model also raises important questions. Centralized power in the hands of an elite group can sometimes limit open debate and reduce space for dissent. Critics ask whether efficiency should come at the expense of broader participation and individual freedoms. Supporters, on the other hand, argue that this pragmatic approach is exactly what enabled Singapore to achieve stability and prosperity in such a short time. The truth lies somewhere in between. The Singaporean governance model remains both admired for its effectiveness and scrutinized for its trade-offs, making it one of the most fascinating experiments in modern statecraft. economic transformation, and innovation. Singapore's economic journey is a story of constant reinvention. In its early days, the island functioned mainly as a trading post, relying on its strategic location to survive. But the nation quickly realized that to thrive, it had to climb higher up the economic ladder. Through careful planning and bold investment, Singapore evolved from a transit stop into a powerhouse of innovation and industry. The government poured resources into research and development, ensuring that science, technology, and education became national priorities. This commitment attracted multinational corporations, many of which set up advanced R&D centers on the island. Over time, these partnerships helped Singapore nurture its own high-tech ecosystem, with thriving sectors in electronics, biotech, and digital services. Financial services also became a cornerstone of its global influence. With transparent regulations, strong institutions, and a reputation for stability, Singapore built one of the world's most trusted financial hubs. At the same time, it actively supported industrial upgrading, moving workers and businesses into more sophisticated and globally competitive fields. Today, Singapore is more than just a hub of commerce. It is a laboratory of ideas, where innovation is not just encouraged, but woven into the nation's DNA. Its influence extends beyond its borders, shaping conversations on global trade, technology, and sustainable development. This transformation from trading port to innovation hub stands as one of the clearest examples of how vision and strategy can redefine a nation's destiny. Social challenges. Behind Singapore's gleaming skyline and world-class reputation, deeper social issues continue to shape the nation's story. Ethnic harmony has been carefully built through law and policy, yet questions of equality still arise. Minority groups sometimes feel their voices are less heard, reminding the country that true inclusivity requires constant effort, not just legal safeguards. Income disparity is another challenge that shadows Singapore's success. While many citizens enjoy a high standard of living, the gap between the wealthy and those struggling to keep up has grown more visible. Rising costs of housing, healthcare, and education place added pressure on lower and middle-income families, raising concerns about fairness in a society that prides itself on opportunity. Education, long considered the backbone of Singapore's rise, also reflects this divide. The system produces excellence, but access to top schools and resources can favor wealthier families, leaving others at a disadvantage. For a nation built on meritocracy, ensuring that every child has a fair chance remains a pressing concern. These challenges do not erase Singapore's achievements, but they reveal the delicate balance the nation must maintain. Growth and prosperity are not enough on their own. The true measure of success lies in whether every community, every family, and every individual feels included in the progress. That ongoing struggle defines the next chapter of Singapore's journey: urban development and the green transition. In a country as small as Singapore, every square foot of land matters. With limited natural resources, the nation had to approach urban development with creativity and precision. One of its earliest solutions was large-scale land reclamation, expanding its territory and making space for housing, industry, and infrastructure. Over the decades, this bold strategy turned geographical scarcity into new opportunity. At the same time, Singapore designed its cities with a multi-center layout. Instead of crowding everything into a single downtown core, planners built multiple hubs, each with its own mix of housing, jobs, and services. This approach laid the foundation for the 15-minute living circle concept, where residents can access schools, shops, healthcare, and public transport within a short walk or ride from home. The result is a city designed for convenience, efficiency, and balance between work and daily life. Green innovation has also become a defining feature of Singapore's urban story. Vertical gardens climb high-rise buildings, rainwater is collected and purified for reuse, and advanced water recycling plants turn waste into a sustainable supply. The city's commitment to green spaces, clean air, and renewable practices has made it a global model for sustainable living. Still, the challenges are real. Technical bottlenecks limit how far reclamation and recycling can go. International disputes over water and resource agreements add external pressure. As Singapore continues to grow, it must navigate these constraints while maintaining its image as a city that is not just livable, but also future-ready. A global role. On the global stage, Singapore plays a role far greater than its size might suggest. As a small state surrounded by larger powers, it has mastered the art of balance. Nowhere is this more evident than in its careful diplomacy with China and the United States. Rather than choosing sides, Singapore maintains strong ties with both, benefiting from trade, investment, and security partnerships while avoiding overdependence on either. This balancing act has allowed Singapore to project influence well beyond Southeast Asia. It has become a trusted mediator, often hosting high-level summits and international negotiations. By positioning itself as neutral and pragmatic, Singapore has earned respect as a reliable voice in global affairs. In the digital era, Singapore has also stepped forward as a rule-setter. It spearheaded the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework, helping the region prepare for a future defined by cross-border e-commerce, data sharing, and financial technology. Its efforts to promote open digital flows and clear regulatory standards show that even a small country can shape the rules of the game. Through smart diplomacy and bold innovation, Singapore has proven that size is not destiny. Influence comes from credibility, stability, and vision, and Singapore continues to use those strengths to carve out a unique place in the world order. Pressures from within and without. Despite its remarkable achievements, Singapore today faces a new set of challenges that test the resilience of its model. Internally, the nation struggles with demographic shifts that threaten long-term stability. Birth rates remain among the lowest in the world, while an aging population creates mounting pressure on healthcare and social support systems. Housing costs continue to rise, making it harder for young families to build a secure future. At the same time, social mobility, once a hallmark of the Singapore dream, has shown signs of slowing, leaving many worried that opportunities are no longer as open as before. Youth unemployment further complicates the picture. For a society that prizes education and hard work, the sight of highly trained young graduates struggling to find fulfilling careers is a growing concern. These internal pressures reveal that even in a wealthy nation, progress is never guaranteed. Externally, the environment is no less complex. The technological decoupling between China and the United States places Singapore in a delicate position. As a hub for trade, finance, and digital flows, Singapore risks being caught in the middle of competing superpower agendas. Maintaining neutrality, while continuing to benefit from both sides, requires not only skillful diplomacy, but also adaptability in a rapidly shifting global landscape. The central challenge for Singapore is clear. Can it sustain resilience in a world that is becoming more divided, more uncertain, and more competitive? The answer will define whether its success story continues or faces its most serious test yet. The uniqueness and fragility of the Singapore model, what truly sets Singapore apart, is its unapologetic pragmatism. From the very beginning, the nation chose to focus on what works, even if it defied ideology or tradition. This practical mindset allowed Singapore to rise from scarcity to prosperity in just a few decades. Policies were designed not for politics, but for results, and the country's leaders were never afraid to adjust course when circumstances changed. Yet the future will test this model in ways the past never did. Can efficiency and fairness coexist in a society where economic success often comes with widening inequality? Can social control give way to greater freedom without undermining the stability that has defined the nation's growth? And most importantly, can a small, resource-scarce island continue to prosper in a world increasingly shaped by rivalry between global powers? Singapore's story is more than a tale of rapid development. It is a lesson in constant adaptation, in choosing survival and resilience over complacency. For other nations, the message is clear. Progress does not come from the size of your land or the wealth beneath your soil. It comes from the vision you pursue, the discipline you uphold, and the choices you make in the face of uncertainty. That is the fragile but inspiring truth of the Singapore model. It is not a finished story, but an ongoing experiment, one that continues to capture the imagination of the world. What do you think of Singapore's rise? Is it an inspiring model that other nations can learn from, or a fragile exception that may not be easily repeated? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating countries.